Brawlers, baby.
But now let's talk boxing business one-on-one. There's been I've got screenshots of Bob stating in a Twitter, if you will, that, Bob, well, what's your concerns with Terrence Bud Crawford saying that he's not sure if he wants to remain or stay a top-ranked fighter once this contract that he has is coming to an end? Bob said that's not the question. The question is, does Top Rank want to continue promoting Bud Crawford moving forward? And the reason Aaron came off with that statement is to say this. He said, hey, I've lost so much money promoting Bud in his last 3 fights. I could have built a new house in Beverly Hills by now. He says that Bud needs to learn how to self-promote himself. Who was better at doing that? None other than the infamous Floyd Money Mayweather. Phenomenal. Talk shit, call you out, get the fans hyped, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. When these fights took place and happened, what happened? He flooded pay-per-view with phenomenal numbers. Probably one of the highest grossing fighters ever to sell the number of pay-per-views that he sold in multiple fights. Pacquiao and Oscar De La Hoya, if you will, and Conor McGregor. Floyd was infamous for that. Bob saying, hey, he needs to do that. He needs to do like Mayweather. He needs to do like Stevenson. Shakur does it. And Teofimo. This is what Bob Arum said. He needs to do that. And I get it. And here's what you guys maybe at the fans don't get. You want to see the big mega fights of the 2 baddest fighters on the planet. Hell, I do too. But here's what Bob Arum is saying. Hey, you want to see Spence versus Crawford? And here's what happens. Here's the breakdown of a Spence-Crawford fight. Check this out. Don't lose me. If that fight happens, okay, we all know Earl Spence is going to be the gate, the draw of this fight. He's going to sell the gate out. He's going to bring in over 1 million homes of pay-per-view buys, if you will, because he has that following. He's already tested the pay-per-view market in the waters, and he can do it, and he's done it well when him and Mikey Garcia fought. Hell, they had a couple of million, you know? And that being said, Mikey had a hell of a following because it was in Dallas where Spence is from. Mikey's Hispanic, he's a Mexican. Large number of followers there in the Dallas market. That was a phenomenal call to call that as the fight site with Jerry Jones in Cowboy Stadium. That's why the money was equal, 50-50. It doesn't matter if Mikey was coming up 2 weight classes. No, Mikey had a following. Mikey's known. Mikey's a world champion in multiple weight divisions. Mikey said, hey, he gets 10 million. I want 10 million. Done deal. They both killed the gate. They both killed pay-per-view. And they both walked away with far more than 10 million each on the back end. That's the business of pay-per-view. Now, Spence sells the tickets. Spence put asses in seats at the stadium. Now, Bud, you can't match. And remember, Bud had his moment of pay-per-view. He couldn't deliver. Shitty numbers. So if Spence say, hey, I'm going to be the cash cow of this fight, every person's ass is in the seat is coming to see me, obviously, because I got the swag. I'm selling tickets. I'm making them go to pay-per-view on the night of the fight and spend $80. And he is. But now Bob is saying, hey, Bud, promote yourself, market yourself, talk shit, do what you got to do. I need your followers to come in just as strong at the gate on Spence Crawford fight night and just as strong on pay-per-view as Spence Crawford fight night. Now, we're all eating. You guys are going to get whatever your purse is, 60-40 split, 50-50 split, which it probably won't be because Spence is going to argue, and it's a good argument. Hey, I'm selling the numbers. I'm selling both pay-per-view and the gate. Damn that, it's going to be a 60-40 split. He might get greedy and say 70-30, but ain't going to go for that. And say, hey, you know, he'll get a percentage on the back end of the pay-per-view as well. They make big money off the back end. There's concessions. T-shirt sales, all of that has to be figured into a fight when you go to the purse bid. Purse bid is like, hey, Vegas, we got 10 million, we got 20 million to host this fight. Jerry Jones, I got 30 million. And that's how the purse bids come in. Whoever comes up with the highest bid, that's going to be the fight site. And the money will be divvied up based on the terms and agreement of that fight, that the fighters must come to terms together and say, hey, okay, I'll take the 60-40 split this time. Also, Bud can say, hey, I'll do it. I want a rematch clause. Win, lose, or draw. If I win, he gets a rematch. If he wins, I get a rematch. 2 big paydays back to back. No harm, no foul. That's why Teofimo's like, the hell with Loma. I ain't got to give him no damn rematch. Y'all didn't give me a rematch clause. If he had won, I'd be asked out. So that's how the boxing business works. Think about it. When Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao was doing all this back and forth trash talking, all of the fans were like, oh, yeah, we get ready to see that fight. It's going to happen this year, whatever year that was, 5 years ago. 5 years later, we see this fight develop. You know why? Because at the time, nobody could agree to the terms and the percentages of the money. Pacquiao like, hey, damn that. Floyd arguably can win that hands down. Say, boy, I got all the numbers on pay-per-view. I own pay-per-view. I own Vegas. I sell out the box office. And they know that. That's why the purse bid came down. Vegas hosted the fight at the MGM. There was $200 million in purse money. It was a 60-40 split. Do the math. When Floyd came to the post-press conference, they gave him his first check of $120 million to Floyd Mayweather at 60% of $200 million. Manny Pacquiao got $80 million at his 40% of $200 million. Now, on the back end, when it was all said and done, Manny did good. Manny walked away with $100+ million in his pocket. Floyd walked away with probably, I think, a little over $300 million. Damn near $500,000. Half a billion, I mean. Almost $500 million he walked away with. So business is everything when you're planning big mega fights, because the business analysts and all the brainstorming and all the people who has their hands in the pot that's going to make this event take off and skyrocket with numbers you've never seen. You know, it's like Twilight Zone. And that fight generated a couple of $1 billion worldwide. So they didn't give a damn about giving Pacquiao his $80 million and a couple more on the back end of pay-per-view, Floyd's $120 and a couple of $100 million on the back end. And they probably made $5-6 billion. Hell, here y'all go, take y'all little money, bye-bye. They made out. The promoters made out, and all the investors and the marketing teams, they made out. So that's how the boxing game goes. Boxing business 101. Bud must start talking more trash, building his followers up, selling out the gate, and putting numbers on pay-per-view in the homes. He has to do his part and make this thing marketable. Because if the numbers don't make sense, the money don't make sense, then Al Heyman gonna say, hey, none of this shit makes sense. We not coming in for less money. We're the ones making a boatload. And if Bud can't do his part in being a part of that money-making boatload of money, then, hey, this deal is off the table. And that's how the Manny Pacquiao-Floyd thing, back and forth, see each other out, call each other out. Floyd's smart. It's not time. The money isn't there. And that's pretty much the breakdown. There's going to be more segments of this that I'm going to share with the fighters, because a lot of fighters don't even know how they get to it. What's a purse bid? How do you come to have the fight in Texas, in Vegas, at Madison Square? That's called a venue. How do they come up with the site? How do they come up with the purse money? You know, how do they come up with splitting that money? Who gets what, percentages-wise? The bigger name, the bigger draw, of course, walks away and argues that I get the bigger percentage. That's how. Concessions. How much are we going to get from Madison Square, from Vegas, from the Staples Center when they sell my T-shirt, my hats? You know, what's my percentage on the back end? It's a business. And boxing is probably the most dangerous sport out. So a guy risks his life every time he steps in that square. The elite fighters making all this money. Hey, they don't know if they're going to make it out alive. We had some terrible deaths last year. 3 deaths. Patrick Day. I mean, oh my God. You know, they got families to go home to. There's life after boxing. Children, loved ones, siblings, mothers, brothers, you know, your fathers, everything. I mean, your entire family depends on you. And then to not make it home, That's why these negotiations are important. They have to set themselves up for life after boxing. Something happens to me, whatever I've put myself in debt for, a nice house, cars, this, that. My spouse, my wife has to be able to maintain and take care of my children and raise my children and make sure that they have college funds still put aside for the money that I've earned, that I own all my properties. I'm not paying mortgages. You know, I'm not leasing cars. Own that. Get that deed to your house. Pay your cars off. Everything that you have that you earn when you fight, own it. That's liquid asset. If you ever have to cash in to get your hands on some fast cash, that's what you cash in. That's called assets. You own it. You cash it out for whatever value you can get it at, that going rate, and you go to the bank. A lot of things involved here. Lawyers, wills, trust funds. Hey, boxing fan, it's a lot that goes into these fights and these fighters that don't really know. For the fighters who don't really know, learn the business of boxing. Not just getting your hands wrapped up every day, going in the gym, blood, sweat, and tears. Fight night, blood, sweat, and tears. Learn the boxing game, the business side of it. Then you'll be more set. You'll understand where your money and your worth. It's about your worth. Because trust me, the promoters, the managers, and everybody else, the marketing team, they're making sure that their worth is being paid out on your sweat. Hey, I'm going to let y'all go for now. This is your boy, Rick Muhammad, Brawler Sports Media. This is the Brawler Sports Boxing Show. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. This is the type of information that we put out. We like to talk about many things, and we also like to teach. Hey, if you haven't subscribed, go to my YouTube channel, Brawler Sports Media. Hit the alert so you get that content when I go live, or you can check it out later. Hit like, share it with a friend or a family member, somebody you know into boxing like yourself. And the holidays is fast approaching. I got some cool Brawler Sports gear. Go check it out. www.brawlersports.com. Once again, it's your boy Rick Muhammad, Brawler Sports Media. This is the Brawler Sports Boxing Show. Let's go, champs.
Brawlers, baby.
Brawlers, baby.